Muri yeZimbabwe kusangana kwatiri kuita zvakare ipo pano pazimunyusi update apo patinoda kupa mafirst hand update anonga ari kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. So kana uri mutsva usabve pano usina kusubscribe, kulike nekushare. So panapa ndiri kuya ndakati batanidzei maupdates akati wandei pasame video. So munogona kuzoona kuti nhauwa yawanyora haisi kuenderana nezvauri kutaura. Aiwa, nhauwa iyo inogona iri kumberi because kuti titi ni update ra Blessed Mhlanga, toya ni update ra VP Chiwenga na Kembo Mohadi, toya ni azvinotora time. So tongoya takazvibatanidza pasame video. Munga panapa tatongokuzivise kuti chii chiri kuitika, zvimwe zvezvinhu zviri kuitika mukati menyika ino yeZimbabwe. So tine maupdate matatu ndiri kuya ndakabatanidza pano. Update yekutanga ndofunga tiri kuona ndeye Blessed Mhlanga. Ndobva tati update yechipiri ndeye military kutaura kuti Tapfumaneyi is a sell out. Hakuna military inobuda ichitaura nenhauwa dzemademonstration nechisinze from 2013 paconstitution, because tiri kuona kuti section 59 yeconstitution ya 2013 ndo iri kuchorwa muri yeZimbabwe. So ndoda kuti nditange kuwerenga zvakanyorwa naBlessed Mhlanga panapa. Blessed Mhlanga, kuna vasikamuzive, Blessed Mhlanga ndiye akatanga kubroadcasta na comrade Bombshell Geza vachida kumisa nhauwa M31 ya 2025. So tiri kuona panapa pane zvaakataura kuGeneva summit kuSwitzerland, chinova chiri chiratidzo chaakatanga kutothreatenwa nana sort of like ana Masimirembwa, ana taura ikandishaya nevamwe vanhu vakasiyana siyana vakatanga kutomuthreatena chimwe ndosaka asinozokwanisa kudzokera now ari ku. So tiri kuona panapa akanyora mashoko akanyora tira kuti timaverenge tese. Ndofunga muri kuona Blessed Mhlanga ndo madays akagara 71 days ndo picture racho iri mukati mekusungwa. So tiri kuona panapa akanyora kunzi I've been informed that the demonstration against Constitution Amendment Bill number 3 is one of horizon. This one wanted to be a stay away. This will shake the corridors of power and announce a new order in Zim politics. I will await to see if the move will shake foundation for now by. Tiri kuona panapa ndo mashoko akataura naBlessed Mhlanga. Rekeze timbone kuti vanhu vane miono ipi mu comment section tichizoenda kune dzimwe nhau dzetinadzo pano. So paudhadha ari kuti pauchanzwa imwe mharidzo yaHezekaya uchaneta. Preaching is just there excited people. Tiri kuona panapa Dennis ari kuti you now need help chief. Tiri kuona panapa okay mdara. Blessed Mhlanga ari kupindurawo zvaari kupindura panapa. You guys are dreaming, right? We all know the Zimbabwe of people. We all know the people of Zimbabwe are in love with the current government and are in love of Constitution Amendment Bill number 3. Dara, will you follow? Don't think it's wise to publish a gossip and concentrate on real journalism. You are part of a liberation. In every struggle there is a journalist to publish the people. So trikona ndo that journalist oyo ndiye journalist umwe chete anokwanisa kupublisha zvinhu sezvazviri vakasiyana nemango majournalist vekuti vanenge vachishanda. Ndofunga muri kuona nhauwa yana comrade Bombshell Geza inauwa yachisa kuti inge ichipublishwa, but iye anga asikatombotywa itongo akatoenda kutorusarenda ega kupolisi muri yeZimbabwe. So tiri kuona panapa pane nhauwa yaVatapfumaneyi. Vatapfumaneyi military yakuti that guy is a sell out. Ogara ari so out because ali aligned na president Emerson Mnangagwa. Ndosaka muri kuona akaiswa pausecond military general chinzvimbo ichocho changa china anthem Sanyatwe ari aligned na vice president Chiwenga. So tira kuti tinzwe kubepa na urema war veteran iri kuti vanenge vari kuti kudini ma war veteran. So tiri kuona panapa iri bepa na urema war veteran iri vari kutaura kuti why did VP Mohadi call VP Chiwenga your excellence. Ndo vari kubvunzwa apo kuti Kembo Mohadi sei kwachishevedza vice president Chiwenga kuti your excellence, because your excellence vanofana kudaidzwa president chete, ma vice president asima your excellence. So tiri kuona panapa what is a joke or deliberating. Furthermore, how did VP Chiwenga react to it? Is there something these two know that the rest of us do not? What else did he whisper that we could not hear? Let's analyze. Tiri kuona panapa muri yeZimbabwe. Rekeze timene comment section tione kuti vanhu vano miono ipi nenhauwa yakafanana iyoyo muri yeZimbabwe. So tikuona panapa kanji musatambe nenyika, musatamba nevanhu rimwe gore muchazve. Tikuona pana ndi muono wevanhu batsira musona ari kutoto stop overthinking, comrade, otherwise you end up singing things. Jongwa both are soldiers, maybe it is a joke of salvation according to their military ranks. Tikona panapa gift ari kuti okikiki munenge muchingobika tunyaya gore dha pasina kana chabuda. Iri channel yema war veteran emuri yeZimbabwe, so tirikuona ndo zvimwe zvezvinhu zviri kuitika. So tirikuona the former, that guy kwete the former nani uyu anotorwara munhu
dziwayo kuvarungu. That's why muchiona kuti democracy yacho hamutogoni kuitaura neshona iri muone word nekuda kuti haisi yenyu ndevarungu. Saka isusu muZimbabwe hatiswida, muAfrica in fact, but we want to be the first state kubreak a record yekuramba democracy. Hazvisungise
mhuri yeZimbabwe anombopota akachidhomoka, but zvedemocracy zvakadhakwa mhuri yeZimbabwe. Tarisai mondana zviitikwa nana South Africa, yakanyanya kupiwa sort of like munhu anafakira mvakatso yake kutanga sort of like vari pamusoro pehead of state. Hazvinyatsi kumeka sense mhuri yeZimbabwe takatarisa zvinhu zvakafanana ini izvozvo. So tiri kuona ndo mamwe emashoko ari kutaurwa aya. So apa dai president Mnangagwa vakaramba kusaina constitution amendment bill number 3 kuti uwe mutemo tikavaendesa kukoti ZANU-PF mashe. Alright, tiri kuona panapa ndiana tungwarara wataura kuti dai president wakaramba kusaina constitution amendment bill number 3 taiti waendesa kukoti ndo mutemo webato reZANU-PF pakaipa murezi rekedza itinzo
munotitenderawo kuti aiwa Shumba Murambwi tinotenda nekuve a constitutionalist. Makabata kachirungu baba Mnangagwa vakaratidza nyika kuti is a true constitutionalist. Nekuti constitutionalist anotera constitution. Nyika yakataura ikati baba ndo zvatiri kuda izvi, ivo ndokubva vatarisa havo kuside vakati itai zvinoenderana neconstitution. Dai vari vamwe vangadai vakapindira vakatiudza zvokuita, asi vakati aiwa iname constitutionalist vakaregedza ma-constitutional processes achiitwa without interference. Ndevapazosvika pavo
mhuri yeZimbabwe ndomuka tiri kuona iyi polisi iyi mhuri yeZimbabwe ipolisi iyi pari kunzi chiiko apa pa German Police Reaction Groups, proper vehicles, full gears, dignity, Zimbabwe Police. Alright, vakaipa kukompea mapurisa emuno nemapurisa ekuGermany chimwe vakaipa. Munomu wanefamba famba nemota kwete kufamba nemazo, ndoso zvetiri kuona pakatsamba yakapindwa nemilitary iyi kuna that Tapfumaneyi ndo pakataura apa achinzi military hakuna zvinhu zvakadaro.
Handiti mangwana ari kusvika. We want people to go to work peacefully. We want the shops.
Mhuri yeZimbabwe ndokutendeni kuteerera kwamamakaita pano paZim News Update, apo patinodai kupa first hand update anonga ari kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. So tine chirongwa chatinenge tinacho pano, tinoda kuti musare muchinzwa chirongwa ichocho uzongotudza comment section.
It's different. So what has been achieved by ZANU-PF, which is very sophisticated, is they would treat us. Masi has very put it outright how they are animals or not human. But the way they also treat us, they also treat us as like animals. But now they don't do it in our faces. They don't do it in our faces. Sorry, they don't do it in our faces. They try to hide it. And when they come to us as if they are helping us, we don't see how they dehumanize us. Do you get my point?
Right.
So the reaction there is a passive one, because we just think, no, it's just a helping hand. Let me just walk in. We haven't conceived how terrible this regime is because of how subtle it has become in oppressing us. And those things need to be very obvious to us, because if somebody does the same thing to you, you will see, but no, this is not on. If you are hungry and then I give you that cup of rice and I say, queue up or your whole family, I'll give you cup. No one would accept that. but somehow we tend to do it when ZANU-PF does it.
Vachibreaka mutemo. We'll document it and move it somewhere kune another stage.
Thing yekuti vanhu vanokangamwa. And let us all not forget. Let us all not forget, because zvinoitwa neMnangagwa, the Mnangagwa regime ndeyekuti vanodzivaidza vanhu. They will create a scenario whereby you would think they are very good guys. Vobva vauya vakomishina chibhorani, vakomishina chichichi. In any country, andisandamboona president achicommissioner such useless things. They are commissioned by councillors zvakadero. So it's a way yekuti isusu tive neperception yekuti munhu maybe zvaakuda kuita zvinhu zvakanaka zvisingaiti. But in return, in the long run,
Yes.
tino abusiwa. That man is an abuser and he can never change. Ndinotenda zvikuru.
Right. Aiwa, ndinotenda Mukoma, thank you very much. Ndine mubvunzo wandatumirwa. I'm going to respond to that question. But before I do that, can I bring in Dr. Tadini into the conversation? Dr. Tadini, what do you say?
Mukoma wangu makadi ndiri kunzwika.
How you doing? Mukunzwika, Tego.
Aiwa, zviri nani matiunganidza tipani mati
I hope I was paid me.
ndati ndidzike because ndingadonhe nezvandoda kutaura tikatadza kuendesa basa kumberi. but pari kutodiwa trade view because pari kutodiwa trade view because mangwana vanhu vanofanira kutoti timhanye handiti. But I'll say this. Panapa, we have had this conversation past space Panapa pekuti, do protests work? And people of Zimbabwe have always had a doubt in terms of the efficacy of protests, the efficiency. And they have a tendency of wrongly interpreting history. And I am glad with what ZANU-PF is doing. Whether they're doing it knowingly or they are shooting themselves in the foot, they have provided the evidence that protests work, and they are the one last tool that Zimbabweans have that can actually challenge the authoritarian rule of Mnangagwa and the ZANU-PF elite. And I am very specific and intentional in saying Mnangagwa and the ZANU-PF elite, because I think we're at a point whereby the minor houses in ZANU-PF understand that Mnangagwa and his grouping are a threat even to the ones that are in ZANU-PF. So I do that deliberately. Kana mchida kuona kuti protest inoshanda, ZANU-PF has done a coordinated approach across all provinces to try and send the message that people should not protest. They've brought out their big guns in the military, in central intelligence, and in police, flanking my provincial ministers, flanking my state ministers, central government, to give out the sense of bravado, to give out the sense of power. That is what they've been attempting to do by the different videos that you have been seeing, that they've been convening and reading from almost the very same script, using just different people. And that is evidence of a regime that is afraid. They are afraid of an action, and that action is demonstration and protesting. That's what they are afraid of. And in response to the fear that the executive is feeling, what have they done? They've sought to put fear in you, the citizen, for you not to access your own rights that are protected by the Bill of Rights in the Constitution and protected by Section 59 of the Constitution of 2013. Vaona kuti ivo vari kutya kuti muchazvinzwisisa kuti zveshuwa mukaungana mukabuda murodhi ndorega simba riripo rekuti munogona kushandisa kuti muvabvise, and also to hold them accountable. Let's not even go as far as removing them, but just holding them accountable. And because they are afraid of that, the executive is afraid. What has the executive done? It has said, no, we have been on years of giving terror to the Zimbabweans. We just need to remind them that we can terrorize them. Let us reciprocate the fear that we feel by putting fear in them. That's why you are seeing all this display of uniforms, coordinated, of course, with the executive through the different ministries. And you should not respond with cowing to your fear, but you should respond by navigating your fear, confronting it, and then utilizing this power that you have been given. Tiri kundinakidza about 31st demonstration yamangwana ndechekuti the person who has marketed it the most to the point of putting it on national television is not you, the citizen who wants to protest, but the government that is afraid of you protesting. So if we were to capitalize on this situation, ZANU-PF would have shot itself in the leg, or the elite of ZANU-PF would have shot themselves in the leg. They have precisely served as the best mic and as the best media company to advertise the 31st. Through all their stances of trying to frighten people. People get over the fear. I know it's difficult to get over the fear because in that messaging, havana kungorisa threat, yet the force that they hold through the security apparatus. Vaisa futi threat yekuti there is a cost to you as an individual. There's a cost that you will lose money because I was going to kubasa. And that threat, ZANU-PF has communicated it through Masudo businessmen, Masudo entrepreneur, amaona achibuda pama different platforms, achiditsvaga mari. So they are there, they are speaking to the aspect of your daily living. So it's expensive for you, don't go. They've also communicated the threats to your own life, of course, the fear. And they are saying it's a costly endeavor for you to demonstrate and hold your government accountable. But I want to tell the citizens of Zimbabwe, Kuti, there's a silent message that they have not been saying that you should realize yourselves, is that it is more expensive not to demonstrate. It is more expensive not to demonstrate, and that is what ZANU-PF is not telling you. And that is what the fearmongers who come on these spaces and who talk about fear and the threat to your life are not telling you. It is more expensive in the following ways. You are likely going to drown in a pond of shit if you don't demonstrate. And we know that that is a fact because we know that there are people who have drowned in a pond of human waste in Harare. Your kids are going to grow up vachida kutiza typhoid because the sewer is flowing in front of Budiriro. Mayor akabva kupa confession yake kuti their sewer system is pretty much gone because of the neglect that they have put on governance. All this they focus on creating oligarchs and self-enrichment. Mayor vakabuda pachena. Saka these are the things you are risking. And the warwara ipapo, you are risking to go to a hospital that does not have the basic medication to attend to such old diseases as cholera. Ndopatiri senyika patofanira kunzwisisa the cost. The cost is in the quality of education that your children are going to have, the lifestyle that they're going to grow up understanding. I'm sure my brother was talking here about upenyu hwekumusha, the inability to simply hold $1 in a month. That is the cost of you not holding your government accountable through demonstrations. It is also going to appear in the form of corruption. You guys understand what corruption has done to the nation. For those that are able to do projections, they've said that corruption has claimed world over, has claimed more life than the Holocaust. So you need to understand that there is that cost if you fail to hold your government accountable. Panonzi panowanda vanhu vari kudiaspora. Diaspora maiona cost yekusahold a government in accountable through my demonstrations because you are always paying to sustain people in Zimbabwe, not because those people are lazy. No, but simply because the environment does not permit them to be self-sufficient. So you have had to become the person who sustains the weight of entire families, generations. So that is a cost to you. And when you look at the person who's next to you in the different jurisdictions that you are, who are also earning the same as you, you're not living the same quality life because you own an additional cost. You're not able to take the same investment risks because you were on any additional cost. And who has created that cost for you? The ZANU-PF government. Even when you're outside their jurisdiction, their failures still pursue you across borders, across seas. That is the cost of not holding them accountable. One will argue that maybe we have other means to hold them accountable other than demonstrating. I have to ring the bell of awakening. That is an absolute lie. You no longer have other means to hold them accountable. Nay, they have co-opted the legislature. Vaifanira kuholdwa accountable muparliament, but parliament haichazvigoni nekuti parliament yakabribwa outright openly. Muchiona parliament yakachinjwa naChabangu zvekuti mese maakurota Chabangu asi hamusati mambomuona in person. That's how prolific his name and his effects have become on the population. You have never met the guy, God forbid I was going to say the bastard. You have never met him, but he will appear in your dreams because of the depth to which he has disturbed your society. There is no legislature to speak of that can hold a government accountable. It was supposed to be that independent arm that would challenge the executive, but yakabviswa mazino. And Kazembe Squared told you, as long as Section 129K exists, there is nothing that the parliament can do. We will vote out in the open, and Buddha in line with the ZANU-PF elite, we will hold them accountable and in disastrous ways, right? You can talk of the judiciary. Judiciary has been captured both by threat and it has been captured by writing. Bill 1, Bill 2 completed by Bill 3. It means you have no other means to hold the executive accountable other than utilizing that very primal force, the gathering of the people that are supposed to consent to being governed or that are supposed to refuse to be governed. The very basics of the social contract. Ndopatiri kudzokera ipapo, my citizens. And this is the only mechanism that is left. I cannot emphasize it enough. I cannot emphasize it enough, but it is essential for the citizens to understand that this is the only piece of equipment left to them to challenge an authoritarian who has entrenched himself to a point of subjugating arms of government into sub-offices under his own office. Ndopatiri. So pane chimwe chinhu chiri kundinakidza. ZANU-PF this time has gone all out to a point whereby they've included the religious folks. Vamwe vacho vanotirwadza nekuti vaimbova vanhu vatakashanda navo kana kuti vataida kushanda navo, who all of a sudden want to speak about God and the aspects of peace when it comes to demonstration. There is no peace when there is a government that wants to extend its rule without the consent of the government. Hapana peace in existence, so we're not threatening peace. And peaceful demonstrations, by the very definition, do not threaten peace. What threatens peace is a government that fails to provide the basics to its people, right? But tinevada kuti paridzira vachitiudza nezvepeace nezvaMwari kana kuti kunzwa kwawo Mwari, a divine order that needs to be respected. You have seen them. And I think the response there is we have to go back to the basics of theology. Even from the African tradition aspect or from the Christian Bible, you understand that you should not sit down in the face of injustice. So again, it is calling you to challenge that king, that president who wants to step on his people, who wants to destroy the very lifeblood of his people. Ndopatiri, Mkoma Gerard. So anyone who has been doubting if a protest works, ZANU-PF has proven it to you. And is there going to be a cost? Most definitely. You are not the one who determines the price of freedom. It is a free market. It will demand of you what it wants, right? And I'm talking about protests tomorrow or even beyond that. But the cost of being a slave is higher than the cost of freedom. And I think I have kicked that horse enough. Netime ndapiwa na Mkoma Gerard. Vanonzwa vanzwa. And the last one where my brother was trying to do the arithmetics of the army, if the army was to go against the citizens in its fullest force. Zimbabwe's army stands at 100,000, including its reserves. And those 100,000 are your brothers and sisters. And they've been showing you that they're also not happy. They are renting kumba kwenyu, havasi kugariswa kune mamwe mabharaka, vari kurenta newe mukuwadzana. Because they don't afford any other kind of life. They are suffering the same way with you. Which means of 100,000, not all of them are made enough to try and shoot their own relatives. We will never get to a point whereby we disintegrate to them trying to kill the entire population. Hakuna zvakadaro, hazviitike. Not all of them are mad. There are, of course, those that feel that the value of trinkets that they are given is enough in order to sell the souls of millions, but they do not represent the horde. They do not represent the entirety of those armed forces. We have to always remember that. We have to always remember that. That is the simple math that is there. Whether there are some that will act in violence or not, we know it for a fact. But the cost of us not holding the ZANU-PF government accountable is heavy. It is heavy on the current generation, and it's going to be heavy in the future generations. Mkoma Gerard, something I'm passionate about, of course, passionate about the lives of the Zimbabwean becoming better. So I ask for forgiveness if I went a bit, got a bit too
No,
excited
no, that's
today.
fine. No, it's fine. I think you're raising important points, and it's quite interesting to listen to that, and we're just reinforcing some of the points that we raised here pertaining to the response that the government is giving, and by you hammering and emphasizing on the effectiveness of my demonstrations, my protests, etc, and being the actions of this government, what they're doing, showing could these things they do actually work, but it's only that they just want to make them illegal, or say if you do this you are going to be doing an illegitimate thing or an illegal thing, and yet our constitution is quite clear when it comes to the aspect of demonstrating in Zimbabwe, because that is provided for in that constitution. So thank you very much for that. But before I go on to Ngimdaraji, I see Danny, you are trying to connect. I want to welcome everybody into the space. If you're just joining me for the first time, we started this at 5, and we are an hour and a half into this thing. Our topic today, we are talking about the 31st of July, which is tomorrow, which I've said is a day of civic resistance. I've given an introduction into that, and right. So the idea is for us, to understand and recognize, the importance of that day, and what it means, and also do a critical analysis of the response that is coming, from the, establishment, what it means, seeing them, these ministers being flanked, by the army, etc. The messages that Dr. Radini has spoken about coming from the business, community, saying, oh, yeah, go out there and, make your money instead of you wasting time in demonstrating etc. So you are seeing it's a concerted it's a concerted effort. They are trying everything in their power to actually sell it to you, to say Kuti, you're wasting your time by engaging in these protests or demonstrations or whatever stairways, because they are going to be coming at a cost in Ngekwa. But you see, some of these things we need to do them for the greater good. The greater good is not for today. The greater good is not for tomorrow, but the greater good is for the future. Somebody asked me a question and said, "Kuti, Uncle Jed, and Babas." But the question and denying there, Kuti, in 2017, why did we not see the army on TV warning citizens to go in the streets? They can keep denying the citizens to express themselves to the assumption that they will be violent. They just need to provide enough security like they do to ZANU-PF Congress, or we see globally. So that is quite, the question, that has been posed is quite, important. It's a very important, question. Right. Why this question is important, I want to look at it from this perspective, Yakuti. It's speaking to how different moments produce different state reactions. And I want to say this. If you revisit 2017, the army did not go on television. But they went on television, but not per level. Right? But they did not go to television warning people not to go into the streets. That they did not do in 2017. But that needs to be understood from the perspective of the public mood and the political dynamics that existed at that time. So we are looking at the army. When you see Chiwenga bringing in a lineup of those security services, it was a way of them trying to frame it as being with the people of Zimbabwe. And at that time, if you look at what was happening, my public gatherings, they were not seen as a threat because my demonstrations, they were aligning with the interests of powerful actors inside the system. That is where the difference is. 2017 and 2016. So we are seeing an opposite, reaction. 2026, right? I said 2016. Anyway, sorry, 2026. 2026. We are seeing an opposite, reaction because what these guys are trying to frame the 30th, or they're trying to do with the 31st. They're trying to frame it as a challenge to its authority, and this is different from 2017. So the response that they are giving is kind of a defensive response, not a permissive response like what we saw in 2017. So in 2017, there were no politicians that flanked, the army, or there were no politicians that were there and then being flanked, by the army. But today, you are looking at politicians who are being flanked by the security services. And in their communication, they are talking about a peaceful demonstration or stayaways is something that is illegal, right? The reason why, they are doing that is because, right, the reason why, just give me a second. Okay, right, guys. Can I just make the space in again clear? Maybe it's a housekeeping thing that I need to do. Can I find anyone who is on PF here? You're just here to listen. You're not here. You're not here, to talk, because this is not about you. You're already opposed, to the 31st. Unless you're coming here to support, the 31st. You have to sit in the terrace on this one. So they are framing whatever it is that needs to happen as illegal. But this is not to say that the constitution has changed. But it is speaking to the aspects of the political interest of those in power which have changed. The interest of the people in politics today, in political power, have changed. It has got nothing to do, with the constitution. So, my brother, you are right to say, these demonstrations, they're constitutionally, protected. I think, I hammered, on that point. But you see, they are, they want to ride, they are riding on this one, which is something that is central to whatever it is, that, they are saying. They are riding on Kuti. My demonstrations, they are disruptive. My demonstrations, I know it from Zimbabwe, they are violent. That is what they are saying. And they are using that narrative to justify wanting to restrict the civic space. But you have to ask yourself, Kuti, if your concern is actually on security or on safety, why can the state not provide, the security? Why can the state not work with the people who want to peacefully demonstrate and say, Kuti, we are going to be there with you, providing you the security that you deserve? The same way that, they offer security to ZANU-PF congresses, the same way they offer security to rallies, or the same way that they offer security to national events. We have seen them offering security, and we know they can do that, well. So if there's a worry, Yekuti, that day is going to push back the achievements of Emerson and Mnangagwa, because people are going to behave in a rowdy way. Why not just offer the security? To say, "Good, we are going to be marshalling you guys. In addition to your marshals, we are going to be adding that security to make sure that nothing goes astray. We are going to be with you." But they are not doing that. But they are coming to the airwaves and they're parading these state security or security apparatus to instill fear on the people and to tell us, Kuti, whatever it is that you intend to do, no matter whether it is legal or it is not legal, we are going to be quashing it. Protest globally, they've been managed by ensuring that there's order. Yes, there are some instances whereby some rowdy elements disturb the peaceful nature of those protests, but it is something that the establishments cannot deal with. But what you're being told here is, even if you step onto the street, we are going to be criminalizing your participation. So yes, this question, might be raising, something, that is deeper in terms of, the reaction that we are seeing, right now. But this has got nothing to do with, legality. But it is everything to do with the political anxiety that is existing within the establishment. It is everything to do with the insecurity or the insecure position that this government is finding itself in. So they want to try and manage these demonstrations by fear and stopping people from demonstration, because to them, the people of Zimbabwe coming together presents a threat that speaks to their illegality, and at the end of the day, they want to prevent it by any means necessary. 2017, 2026, one thing that has remained clear is the Constitution has